Hey y'all, yes, you seen I done renamed it. It's not the Essence Fest, it's the Messence Fest. Y'all listen. They got a lot of stuff with them.
Could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the bush.
Auntie, I agree with you. So let me play my intro and then we're gonna get into the rest of this mess.
Work, work, work. To me, I get work, 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 work. See me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So me for that work, 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 work. When you walk a line, 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 line. In the girl, them hurt, 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 hurt. Try me, I deserve it. Let the devil lurking. Yeah. You make a like, now you don't like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me in the right. Nobody touch me in a crisis. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken with love, I brought for you for foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you never seen, something that you never been. But I wake up and nothing's wrong. Just get ready for work, 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 work. To me, I be work, work, work.
Hey y'all, it's Mocha Mima. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, extra special welcome. If you've come back for more, thank you guys for coming back. Make sure you hit on that like and subscribe button so you get notified whenever I upload content. Now, y'all, the Messence Fest, aka Essence Festival of Culture. It seemed like there was some parts of it that they wasn't even thinking about our culture. Let me tell you, y'all, the Essence Festival decided they wanted to sue a black bookstore and another black organization. I guess they're a bookstore too, out of Atlanta, because they claim that they were using their name to promote their event. So I'll show you a copy of what, let's see, that's the letter. Let me show you this. So it's called the Lid House. They are, I guess, a bookstore, whatever, out of Atlanta. They partnered up with Baldwin and Company, which is a bookstore in New Orleans. Now, if you remember, the Essence Fest was last weekend in New Orleans. It was held from basically from the 29th until the 2nd of July. The second, they have their big, close out. They had Megan Thee Stallion, and they had a bunch of different musicians and workshops and things during the week. And there was also big issues with the talent that they had there, such as the musical acts and everything. I was going to do a video on it, but I'm like over Essence at this point. So I'm just going to talk about this issue that they had. So the Lit House was doing a one-day event where they had different artists, authors come with their books. Black. Most of them were black female authors, I believe. I know one was Crystal Jordan. I saw her in an interview with Mr. Dennis Byron, who is the Hip Hop Inquirer. Check him out. He does all like he was at the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion case. He covers the Cardi B, Tasha K, that case extensively. But she was telling him the story about how she had her staff come, booked hotel rooms, paying the staff to come down there, paid, to register for this event so she could promote the book that she has called Dear Alpha Female. And she found out that Friday morning that the event was canceled on that Friday morning, June 30th, which was the day of the event. So to explain it further, what I am going to do is I'm going to let me pull up the video of Gary Chambers out of New Orleans. You may know Gary. He ran for senator down there twice. So I'll let Gary explain it because he's boots on the ground and he knows what's going on.
This is a temporary restraining order issued in New Orleans on behalf of Essence Magazine that stopped black business owners from making money during Essence Fest. Let me explain. This is Tamika and Kim. They own Lit Diaries in Atlanta. They were putting on an event in partnership with Baldwin and Company, who's owned by a brother named DJ in New Orleans, for Essence Weekend for Authors in New Orleans. Let me make a long story short. So Essence decides that they find out about this event that's happening at Baldwin and Company. They send a cease and desist letter. The parties involved respond to this letter to make it clear to Essence that we're not trying to copy anything that you guys are doing. There's no branding associated. We're independent. We're on private property. All of these things. Essence gets that letter. They still file an order with the courts. 7:30 the morning of the event, they get an order from the court that says that they cannot have their event the day of the event, and it's canceled. They can't have their event because the courts have said that this black business, these two black women, this black-owned bookstore in New Orleans can't have their event, and Essence is the reason. The city council president of New Orleans issued this statement, though. Council President J.P. Morrell says, my office is aware that an event planned by a local business on private property during Essence Fest was forced to shut down due to an alleged violation of the Clean Zone Ordinance. It is completely inappropriate for any large-scale event visiting the city of New Orleans to negatively impact our local businesses with something akin to a non-compete clause. It is especially concerning that the canceled event was organized by a black-owned business and would have showcased black female authors on a weekend that is supposed to be dedicated to black culture. It was never the intent of the council for any ordinance, much less the Clean Zone Ordinance, to impact private businesses hosting private events that happen to coincide with the timing of Essence Fest. Here's my truth. The black women who are a part of creating this event, as well as DJ, the business owner in New Orleans, are people who I have admiration and respect for because they do tremendous work for our community. It is wholly disappointing that Essence would file such a document to stop black folks from making money in New Orleans while you're a guest in our city. As great of a guest as you are, you're still coming here. And I'm going to be honest with you, as big of a show as Essence is, to say that you're worried about a small event at a bookstore and filing documents to stop it, it's really unfortunate. And as a guardian of black people and a guardian of the people of this state, I feel it's my obligation to say, y'all need to rectify this. You need to reach out to these folks. This is unacceptable, and this is not what we expect from Essence. We love what you do. We appreciate all that Essence is and represents, but you got to do right by us, not sometime, but all the time.
Okay, so let me go back to my slides. So here is a copy of the letter that was sent to Baldwin and Company, and it just goes on to tell them that this is what Baldwin and Company sent to Essence Fest, really just telling them that about their pride, that they will not collect tickets and blah, 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 that, you know, how I guess what happened was, like I showed you in the thing earlier, that Tamika had the phrase in there, lit house at Essence Fest, which she put in there saying because things were being held during the Essence Fest weekend, and that, you know, it was a mistake. When she had sent this letter to them. She had sent that letter out. And here's, like I said, lit house at Essence Fest. So that was sent some months before. This is what they tweeted out. Essence Fest tweeted out on the 1st. And though Essence doesn't charge, they don't charge for the festival. They say, I've never been to Essence, but from what people have told me, what I heard Crystal Jordan say on the interview, that people weren't charged for Essence. However, she never received any information back from Essence. She did pay a $35 fee to register to have a booth there at Essence. She never heard back from them. She wasn't the only one that never heard back from them. So then she had to make other arrangements. Now let me tell you about the clean zones. The clean zones are areas around the Essence Festival events where other events and vendors are banned unless permitted throughout the city. The clean zone measure stays in effect from June 26th. Now that's 4 days before the festival starts at 6 a.m. until Monday, which is the day after the festival is over, at midnight. and no one except these approved City Hall and Essence may advertise or sell merchandise associated with the festival in an area that includes the Caesars Superdome, the General Business District, Warehouse District, French Quarter, and parts of Faubourg Marigny, the 7th Ward, and Treme. This law also forbids other outdoor events and festivals in the area during that time period. So that means no one in that area can make money. Like they do, that's food places are fine because people have to eat, but like you can't go there and the businesses around that area can't make money. And that's absolutely ridiculous because not everybody can go in the area. You should be able to go and the thing about it is essence people come from all over the country and maybe different parts of the world. They may come to this place to New Orleans for this weekend, and they may want to go and buy things in stores around that area, buy souvenirs, buy Afrocentric products or whatever that they have in there. New Orleans is a city that's rich in culture. People want to stay close by. They don't want to have to go way out somewhere or out of that area because they don't know the city. They want to stay there and be able to purchase things. You know what I mean? That may not even be, that they want to just purchase things. And from what I've heard, they just shut everything down there. They can't even sell things. And that's hard for the people, the business owners in that area. So that's absolutely unfair. And then, like I said, here is Representative Morrell, who's part of the council member there. Gary read his statement. So they're going to look into this to make sure this doesn't happen again. And like I said, it's very upsetting. It's an unfortunate thing that happened to this, and that's why I've renamed it the Messence Festival of Culture. I've never gone because I have health problems which preclude me from sitting in the heat. Now I am going to New Orleans in September to see Beyonce. So, in September it's not as hot down there, so I know I'll be fine. But this is just terrible. I know that that Essence Festival is also suing. They are suing Spotify from last year, but they also had some events, and allegedly, they used the Essence Festival name too. And I think Essence they get a little touchy about the name because there's so many people in that area. You know what I mean? You can't even attend all the events. Everything is so packed from what I've heard from other people. Now, even though they had to cancel that event, it did take the Essence some time, and from public pressure, they did decide not to have the lawsuit. They did drop. At first, they just dropped Baldwin and Company from the lawsuit that they were filing, and then afterwards, they decided to drop Lit Diaries as well. So I am gonna bring Gary back so Gary can let everyone know what happened with the rest of the case.
What's good, y'all? First, let me say thank you to everybody who shared the video I made on Friday about Essence Fest and something that was going on with some small business owners. I want to give you a report back because I've had the opportunity to have a 2-hour discussion with Rich Dennis, the owner of Essence, Kimberly Latrice Jones, one of the owners of Lit Diaries, as well as a friend of mine, Dr. Lakeisha Holman, who helped facilitate the conversation between all parties. What I'm glad about, and I'm going to say this first, is that 2 brothers and 2 sisters were able to get on the phone and have a conversation about some differences that took place and find resolution. In that conversation, we were able to discover that there was a set of facts that Essence was informed, and Essence was doing what it felt it needed to do to protect its intellectual property. There was also a set of facts that was present with Kimberly Latrice Jones and Lit Diaries, and they were attempting to protect their interests. For me, I am a guardian of Black people and a guardian of people in this state. And what we were able to do in this conversation is talk about how all of us in this equation could have handled each other better as Black folks. Because for me, when you see a conversation like this, it's not enough for us to criticize Essence and say they're wrong, but to say, how do we move forward? And I think that that is what the end result of this conversation is. Essence wants to do right by the community, and I think that the community wants to have a great experience with Essence. And so this conversation was rooted in truth, transparency, and solutions. And I appreciate that opportunity. I also appreciate the opportunity of a man who owns a company taking the time to listen to the perspective of people who are disgruntled against something that happened and making a resolution to that end. And so for all of you who have been in the comments tearing it up, I just want to tell you that for me, this is about solutions and how do we make sure that as Black folks, that we work together in a way that is effective to give fruit for us as a people, because we need more harvest so that we can get more outcomes for our people to prosper. Essence is a beautiful thing, and we want to see it prosper for the state of Louisiana, and we want all people to feel valued in that process. So thank you to Essence for having the conversation, and thank you for finding a resolution to this issue. As always, y'all, do good, seek justice, keep pushing.
I want to send a shout out to Gary Chambers. Gary, thank you so much for your help. Gary is such a force down in Louisiana. He is always looking out for our people. He puts our people first above everything. He really deserves to be senator. I donate to every campaign that he has constantly, ever since I saw him when he was at the city council down in, I believe it was in Baton Rouge. I forget exactly what city he was in at that time when I first saw him in the national news, because he is a good guy and he really thinks about the people of Louisiana first. So shout out to Gary Chambers. Please follow him on TikTok, follow him on Instagram, follow him on Twitter. He's probably on Spill and on Threads. So follow him. He is really someone good to follow, because he is really awesome. But Essence really has some work to do. They also have some work to do with the generation, like between the generations, because Essence is no longer what it used to be. Like at one time, Essence, Frankie Beverly and Mays would always close the festival. They did it for like 15 years or so, and that's no longer the case. And I know things change and music changes, and their demographic is not what it was before. But and from what I've heard, they've been getting less people that come, and it's just a lot that goes into it. I hate to see it fall by the wayside, but they really need to do some revamping. I heard that they had a new company that came in to help them with this. Hopefully that they had some type of surveys for people to look at, and they really consider revamping and really taking into consideration what people have to say about what they should do with the festival. So with that, you guys, I'm going to leave it there. Remember, like and subscribe. Click on the bell button for the uploads. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here for me and listening. We are on the road right now to 500. We are more than halfway there. So we're growing this channel organically. We are pushing. So like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you. As I always say, I want you to remember this.
Say it with me, kids. If protecting my peace makes me the villain, then bitch, my name is Thanos.
Y'all just remember, protect your peace at all costs. And remember, if you're having any issues with your mental health, talk to someone. Call a mental health professional. If it gets real bad, go to the emergency room. But please talk to someone and don't suffer in silence. Love you guys. Thanks so much. I will see you in the next video.
To me, I get work. See me do me dirt. places. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought for you my foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you never seen, something that you never been. But I wake up and nothing's wrong. Just get ready for work, 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 work. To me, I be work, 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 work. You see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So